GSL.
We are ready for our fourth and final best of three of the second part of today. You see that Hyana advances, and he will play another ZBZ against Sniper, who advanced earlier today. Whoever wins that will play against whoever gets third place in the Code S round of 16 Group C.
Both of them played a Zerg player today. Both of them are playing another mirror match, obviously, in the next round. But now we have a game without a Zerg.
We do indeed. It's the only game, in fact, of today. It does not have a Zerg player. It is Lure against Hart. We didn't talk about Hart too much before the break. It's a player who does really well overseas. He's kind of like the third place guy. You could, say he gets third a lot. And he has been criticized a lot for doing mostly all-ins. However, he actually recently, in the games I've seen of him, has played macro games.
He played in the last up and down matches, and I remember specifically that in the first games he looked really good and was surprisingly doing well in the group, a lot better than most people would have expected. He had a really tough group, but then the next few matches he fell short. Lure, on the other hand, in the past, one of the players that was kind of known. He played for OGS, and after OGS disbanded, MVP picked him up.
Yeah.
I think before OGS, it was actually really kind of funny. Yeah. He was he was in RS, then went to OGS shortly after that. He might have been the reason. No, kidding. OGS disbanded, so it was he was picked up by MVP. Well, if MVP disbands in like a week, then we know what's up, but I don't think so.
Yeah, Lure is destroying teams. Our starting map is going to be huge. It's going to be Whirlwind.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the English spelling of Whirlwind capitalizes wind.
Okay, on the badass meter, who I give Lure a 7 out of 10. Hart gets a 4.
I don't know, man. I give him a 7 as well.
Hart? A 7?
Yeah, man.
Just from the looks? The fact that he wears glasses already subtracts at least 5 points.
I don't know, man. You can be a badass with glasses.
Who? Yeah, with sunglasses.
I'm like, look at Woodrow Wilson, man.
Who?
Woodrow Wilson.
Who's that?
He's a badass with glasses, man. I don't know. We're loading up Whirlwind right now. It's time for Lure versus Hart in our final best of three here at the GSL Code A round of 48 with Calder and Wolf.
The last best of three for the day. At the bottom left, we have a Protoss player, former RS or OGS member. Now he's playing for MVP. It is
MVP Lure.
And there he is. He may even get an 8. To the top right, we have his opponent though. We have in the blue the Terran player, also known as
Complexity Hurt.
What exactly did it mean by also known as? It's like, wait a second. No, that didn't make any sense at all. Well, we could call him Terran.
He's not. He doesn't look as badass as Woodrow Wilson, but I think he's badass. He looks serious, man. He looks like he doesn't care who
I mean,
you
he
are,
might be on, but just from the looks of it, he looks harmless.
He doesn't look harmless to me, man. He looks like he'd kill you as soon as look at you if you had what he wanted. Like, I bet Hart's the kind of guy who has no heart, in fact. It's just a trick. It's a trap. It makes you think that he's like that Planeteer from Captain Planet that has the lamest power.
If you give Hart a 7 out of 10, what does a guy like Vin Diesel get?
I think Vin Diesel looks pretty lame, man. I think he gets like a 4.
Excuse me?
No, man, you look so much better than Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel gets like a 4, man. He tries too hard. You don't try too hard.
All right.
That's the difference between you and Vin Diesel.
Okay, guys. This is proof. Wolf, you need glasses.
No, man, it's not about like Vin Diesel was only like, I feel like Vin Diesel, man, he's like only confident in his looks because his acting isn't that good, but like
wow.
But the thing is, like, you're actually just a really good commentator. You don't have to worry about your looks. If you didn't look like you did, people would still like you.
All right.
You know, I can say that because I have a heart, but I don't have a TSL heart. I don't have that. I don't have a complexity heart either.
Good save. Good save. Not a complex heart.
No, man, my heart's pretty simple.
Standard edition.
Yeah, standard edition, man. Wolf's Heart SE. Blizzard's working on LE right now, but it hasn't come out yet.
One left, though, we have the expansion already building for Lure here. And, well, a pretty early expansion at that.
Yeah.
He actually started before the core.
Very quick, and that's going to pay off because his opponent went 1 Rax expand, and they're at cross positions on the biggest map. Well, this map is just so big.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's massive. It is large.
It is one of the maps where I still can't decide if I like it or not, because we've seen a few games that were really exciting and interesting on this map. A couple of the Nasty games that he played in the ZVZs come to mind. But in general, I don't really think that I'm a big fan. I don't know.
I don't like these big maps.
If they're too big, I mean, I get the idea. You want to achieve that you see very macro-oriented games where you have a lot of late game strategies. There was also the same idea that we had when we had Calm Before the Storm in the map pool. But I think most of the time, it doesn't really work as intended.
No, yeah, it removes a lot of strategies, but I mean, I just don't favor maps that are like, no, it's so big that you can't do all these things, and then there's a lot of expansions, and so it's going to be a good game. I'm like, well, that can sometimes be the case, but how many epic games have we had on this map versus Metropolis, for example, or how many games have we had that were epic on even Atlantis Spaceship, which is still not one of my favorite maps, but better than this one, I feel. I mean, the ratio is poor. Lure is totally missing a pylon here. I mean, he just now started, but he has been missing it for a while.
Yeah, he was supply block for already.
He's like, this is the best time to be supply block as Pross is when your warp gate research finishes, because you're like, well, just make all these into warp gates. I don't really miss anything. It's all right. And the pylon finishes, and you're like, all right, it's sick, and you warp in your units. Can't make probes, but you're like, all right, I can make my gateway units now. He didn't make 2 pylons either, so he's going to make like 3 gateway units and then have to make another pylon. Okay, there he goes.
Yeah, he starts immediately. And we have the transition into the robo here, obviously, and he is still on... How many gates does he actually have?
3.
He's on 3, okay, sorry. Top right currently, that's the harvest account. We have 32 against 30, but we already have the double engineering bay of 4 heart, who starts with the early upgrades here.
Yeah.
+1/+1 has been started. And it does not really look like he's going for any kind of cheesy early on attack. This is something that people have been talking about. That Hart is trying to be a little bit too aggressive. And he pulled a lot of SCVs in his up and downs.
He certainly did. Something to mention about Hart is that what he's doing here delays his factory, so he's not going to be hitting... I mean, this is not the map to do it on, but he's not going to be hitting that 2 medevac push. He's going to get faster upgrades. He's going for the late game here, but he's not sacrificing pressure. He will actually take out this Stalker if it's not Micro. There he goes, microing it, and he could get this Observer as well. Nope, too late. He probably didn't have a scan available. But he's just continuing the pressure, takes the Watchtower. Right now, Hart's vision of his opponent is very limited. He did see the Nexus at the natural as well as the Robo, but he doesn't have any other information. He's going to go home now. He's taking the Watchtower. He feels content. The Observer may see, oh, okay, only 1 Marine on the Watchtower. He may go and take that from him. See a little bit of back and forth action there. Armory going down. He's already preparing for 2-2 as the Forge is finished, so he's taking a very early upgrade lead.
We don't have any aggression by Lure in the early stage of the game. For Hart, it will depend on what exactly he's going to do so as soon as the first Medivac site in the picture. If he tries to go for some drop play, but quite often we have both players just being content of going to 3 bases and waiting until they hit this 200 supply army where they're really comfortable to move out. When they added the attack, we have the Colossi that Lure is currently opting for, and of course the Vikings to take them apart. I mean, this is kind of both of them getting this army composition that they are comfortable with moving out, and then it depends on position on the map where exactly you are able to attack your opponent, how you position your Vikings, if you are able to get a good spot and shoot down all those Colossi, what exactly you can make work. You sound unhappy.
Well, I'm not unhappy. I wonder about how this game is going to play out, because even though it's a massive size map, neither player has shown really any intentions for a 3rd base. 2-2's not started for Hart, despite the fact that he has Armory way on time and had the W base up, and has 387 gas right now. So that's something that could have been a little bit better timed, but either way, looks like he may start to move out in pressure with his first 2 medevacs. Still no 2-2 for Hart. And I'm not talking about the type that you wear and dance. I'm talking about 2-2 upgrades. He's not getting them, and he's still not getting them. Right now, I feel like, okay, I was going to say if he doesn't start him soon, I'm going to ask him to wear a 2-2 on Off the Record if he ever comes on the show. Because this is, okay, there it is. So he's still ahead of his opponent, technically speaking, in upgrades, but he could have been better. And now they're going to be on even upgrades when he fights here. And Chrono Boost will allow Lure to catch up and pass him very quickly.
And he's not gonna fight. He's scanned ahead, and he knows that there's already one Colossus out. That the army in that it's just too much. It's something that he should not be comfortable facing, and he doesn't do it. He might drop though.
He may, and that's something that you can do when your opponent does not have. I mean, when you're going for Colossus, you don't have a lot of support units. May kill this Observer.
Is he trying to do this?
Well, this can work in some circumstances, but he's about to hit that time where his opponent has 2 Colossi with range. You never want to fight that with a mostly Marine army with no Viking support. He's making the Vikings now, but they're not here.
And the other thing is that you always have to consider that there are force fields, so if he places them well and cuts the army in half as soon as he walks up the ramp, that's basically about it.
Yeah.
He can reinforce immediately with the warp ins.
They're both bullying each other or trying to be like, I've got the bigger army than you, but neither of them are taking any risks with the expansion. And on a map of this size, I feel like people need to experiment more with taking hidden bases. For example, what if Lure just made 400 minerals go into a base at the bottom right? I mean, yeah, sure, if that gets scouted, he is going to lose it. But, I mean, right now, what he's doing is just waiting. At any moment in time, Hart could just throw down a command center anywhere because he's got the pressure putting on right now. He can make it in his main base, float it later, and Lure is... He's teching up a lot, but on a map like this, if he makes this beefy army, is he going to really be able to pressure Hart? Not really.
We have finally another warp in with Stalk, as I was already about to say that the Stalk account is really low for low, considering that Hart is now getting the first medivacs. He really needs something to make sure that the anti-air units are not completely uncontested when the fight starts. The upgrades, as you already mentioned, they roughly finish at the same time. Lure with the Chrono Boost is certainly able to close the timing gap between the upgrades, and it will be interesting to see who's getting ahead here. Who starts his +3/3 first? We'll give him a slight advantage. There it is. Hart this time, not missing a beat. Immediately starting with the third set of upgrades.
Oh,
not quite.
Not quite at all, but it was close. 3/3 first for Hart. This time hitting 3/3 very quickly. Not waiting a second. Very, very fast there. Archon's coming out here for Lure. And Hart is really, I mean, this is as pressuring as you can be. The Vikings a little bit out of position, and oh no, the Zealots charge in. This is not a good engagement for Hart so far, but the Colossi do fall pretty quickly as the Vikings engage them. And the Archons try to close the distance. Hart, though, looks like he may have to retreat.
He's falling in supply really quickly, and the last Viking is gone there. Still 2 Colossi left, and this is looking pretty grim for Hart as he's trying to retreat here, losing another medivac. He lost so many units already. He's down to 100 supply, and Lure is on the move right now. He's reinforcing with the Zealots. He's starting his +3 per split a little bit later. Has the Chrono Boost here, but the momentum is definitely in Lure's favor now, and he's getting a third base as a result of it.
Hart has not even begun a third command center, not in his main, not in his natural, not in his third. There's no glimpse. There it is on the production tab. You guys can see he's just now starting it. But guess what, Hart? It's a little bit late for that. You've got the upgrade advantage, but your opponent has a better army than you, and you're going to be the one playing on the defensive. He's going to have to start doing drops. He's going to have to harass his opponent in some other way or hope for a good engagement, because right now, Lure is already going towards that late game composition that so many people are complaining about right now. He's got the Archons, he's got the Archive. Blink's on the way. 3/3, once it finishes, he'll start shield upgrades. He doesn't have Storm yet, but he's going to get it soon.
And the reinforcements will be a problem. This is what most players complain about, that Protoss is just able to reinforce immediately as soon as the fight begun. As soon as they drop in supply, they will warp in another round of units. What Lure definitely has to do is add additional production buildings. And look at the production tab. We currently have 2 additional gateways built already, and he will add more given the time and as soon as the third finishes and he's saturating 3 bases.
Yeah. The situation here for Hart is quite dire. His command center is finishing up. Now he's got the Vikings on the way, but he does not have any ghosts. And the Archon count is getting higher and higher. And at any moment in time, he can start Storm if he wants to. He's not doing it yet because he knows that Hart is behind, and when you're behind and your opponent has a Nexus, you have to pressure it in some way. So I feel like he doesn't want to commit that gas to Storm right now. He doesn't want to keep High Templar out that are not Archons where they're vulnerable.
Hart is actually getting a second starport now. He wants to get the Vikings a little bit faster, but the thing is that Lure did not really add too many Colossi after the last battle. He added 1. He has 3 in total, so if he really overcommits to all these Vikings, then he will have a lot of anti-air units.
This is what I like to see.
The drop. You talked about it earlier. That's exactly what he does right now. He's dropping in the main base, but he's getting out there a little bit too early. Could have done more damage.
Could have done more damage indeed, but I like that he's doing it in the first place. He can always come back, and this pressure alone can mess with Lure. He's now supply blocked. He's going to have to make a few more pylons. He's almost maxed, though. 3 medevacs at a time coming out here, so he can replenish his medevac count, which is a little bit weak right now. Those 2 medevacs, the only 2 he has on the map right now. He's got 3 more about to pop, but with that extra starport, he can make Vikings if the Colossus tech switch occurs again. There's Storm, another Archon coming out as well, and Lure in a commanding lead here, but Hart has the third base running now.
Yeah, he indeed does. So here they are on even basis, but the advantage is already in Lure's favor. And now he's moving in, trying to make this work. And there's Hart retreating immediately, trying to move back. Storm is being researched, as already mentioned. And with Storm, he would have 2 area of effect units in the game. Not only the Colossi, but also the High Templars. A small force of bio units trying to shut down the Stalkers that chase down the Medivacs. But this is really a grim situation for Hart indeed. It's going to be so tough for him to defend this.
Yep, here we go. Archon's leading the charge. The Stalkers blink, and then the Colossi are doing the maximum amount of damage here. This looks really bad for Hart, but he has some Marauders flanking. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough as the Zealots charge through here. The SCVs are going down. Medevacs are joining the fight to die. And GG!
Hart leaves the game. MVP Lure is victorious.
Tried to drop after he was behind, but it was too little too late.
Well played here. Lure looking pretty good. And Hart, well, in the early engagement when we lost all his medivacs, he fell behind and he also misread a little bit what Lure was doing at this point. He just thought there would be a massive amount of Colossi that he has to face, but we didn't see... we only saw 3. Only 1 additional Colossi build, and all those Vikings didn't help him too much. The army was way too big anyways, because Lure had this expansion up a lot earlier. And now the next map has just been loaded. The players are in the lobby, and we are going to see the next PvT on, once again, huge map. It's going to be on Atlantis Spaceship.
Yeah, 2 big maps back to back. A change of scenery with our music a little bit here, but this is important for Hart. He is 1 game away from being out. Both of these players coming from the up and down matches.
Yep.
Hart is, he looks a little bit stressed. His hands not on the keyboard, looking down at the monitor. He almost looks angry. He's got a frown on his face. Yeah, I don't know. I just...
You really need glasses.
No, man, look at how he's clenching his hands. How he keeps, his hands are shaking, actually. You can see them.
Yeah, but that's not angry. He looks intimidated.
Well, I mean, I guess you could take it that way as well, but he is definitely stressed out. That is for sure.
Look at Lure. Look at his eyes. He's like
he's so focused.
He's a killer.
He is a killer. See if he can kill Hart here. The map is loaded. This is the GSL Code A round of 48. Lure 1 game away from advancing. Hart needs a win here. We'll see if he can get it right now on Atlantis Spaceship.